and he said, I have to go pick up 75 privets because the client decided they didn't want it, and then sort of disappears. It's a bush that gets trimmed into a hedge.
He has to pick up 75 of them?
Apparently. But like, first of all, I'm like, isn't that what did I say? I said, isn't that what the is like what the 75 privet? And I'm like, isn't that where the Dursleys live? And of course, no one knows what Harry Potter is, so I had to clear that one up. And they're like, oh, it's
for sure.
Yeah, it's I think it's 5 privet. But they're like, it's a plant that gets trimmed into a hedge, and then John just replies, oh, them's fancy people bushes. And we are back for another episode of the DLF Trade Show. I am your host, Russ Fisher. He is also your host, Addison Hayes, Dynasty Outhouse, Adam Hayes _. I can't believe I screwed that up already, but we're just going to keep going and pretend it never happened. We are here and we are showcasing. That's what we are doing. The DLF Trade Analyzer has tight end premium, and we are going to use it. We are talking about Darren Waller. We are going to take you on a 360 tour of Darren Waller's trade value. We don't actually, I'll call it right now. We don't have many upgrades from Darren Waller because there isn't really that far up to go. There's talks right now that he's the tight end 2. And let's face it, no one's trading Kyle Pitts. And if you're trading Travis Kelce, chances are, I don't think you're downgrading that close to Darren Waller. I think you're doing something else bigger than that. So this is going to be a lot of either, depends how you look at it, downgrading from Darren Waller or upgrading to Darren Waller. I guess it depends whether he's on your team while we're talking about this or not. Mm-hmm. But let's jump right into it. We are going to the wide receiver equivalent. The first league we have 12-team Superflex with a 1.75 PPR for tight ends. This is my jam. This is what my leagues are. This is what I like. And this is what is beautiful for Darren Waller. Darren Waller, where in Superflex, comes in on the analyzer at 452.1 for Chase Claypool and Tyler Higbee. Claypool at 218.6, Higbee at 68.4. Clearly, the analyzer has this very much in favor of Darren Waller, and I'm going to agree very easily. Now, I'm going to straight up ask Addison, what do you think about Chase Claypool? Like, what is he? What do you think he's going to be? Like, you can, okay, Addison literally always, every single show we've done, and I am lazy, so every single show we're ever going to do, Addison is going to put these show sheets together. Last week, we did Juju, who was on the Steelers, and this week, every single trade is a Steelers player, so you can really tell that Addison put this one together. Mm-hmm. So please, Addison, Chase Claypool to me is one of the enigmas of young wide receivers because he has the ceiling of 4 touchdowns. Did he have that one game? There's like three receiving and 1 rushing or something crazy like that.
Yes.
But he also has a floor of 3 targets where he catches 1 for 40, and that's kind of his game. So what do you think of Chase Claypool? What do you think of his value in the analyzer? And man, I don't think you're going to be able to convince me that this trade is a good one, but at least tell me what you think his value in terms of going for Waller would be. What would you have to add on top of Claypool and Higbee?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I think you need to add a lot more to Claypool and Higbee. I'm not really the biggest Higbee guy, even with Gerald Everett gone now. I'll just put that one out there. Chase Claypool. So if you're watching this on Thursday, the whatever day this next Thursday is.
Really? You can't do that math? It's 7 days.
You're watching
our numbers guy, ladies and gentlemen.
On the 8th or after. Because we're recording this early. But I did drop a Chase Claypool versus Jerry Jeudy video on this DLF YouTube channel the previous Friday, July 2nd. So you can go and check that one out because I'm talking and basically comparing the two because they're going right next to each other in ADP. And I think that's a very tough decision for a lot of people. But Chase Claypool is really interesting. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, no, like I want Judy very, very easily there, but no, keep going. Sorry.
But Chase Claypool, yeah, he's really interesting because he had that amazing start to the year. He was the wide receiver 15 through the first 11 weeks. And then Mike Tomlin actively dropped his snap count because he was worried that he was going to hit a rookie wall. Didn't want that to happen for whatever, future career progression or mentality or whatever that is in his rookie year. I'm not going to be the one to question Mike Tomlin or how the coaches run their wide receiving core because they've been very, very good with developing wide receivers. So I'm not worried about that. But I mean, he is the wide receiver 3 on the team, at least this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers with Juju re-signing. If Juju leaves next year, Chase Claypool is the wide receiver 2. Probably
and then
more
they just draft someone in the second again.
I mean, they could probably definitely do that. But I mean, Chase Claypool fits that prototypical like outside wide receiver role as like a huge, people talked about him as transferring to a tight end position, but then he ran like a 4.4 40. And so he has that size speed combo that everybody loves in their wide receivers. So he is a really interesting guy. I think his ceiling is very, very high, but like you said, the floor is also pretty low. But I think a lot of that was because the snap count wasn't really there. The targets were up and down just because they had also Juju and Deontay Johnson, who are more stable in that offense, at least right now with Big Ben. There's also question marks in terms of who's Chase Claypool's quarterback of the future if Ben is done after 2021. So there's a lot of that going on, and it's really iffy. But to get to, we're talking about Darren Waller here, and we're focusing on him and his trade. I think you need to add a pretty significant piece to, Claypool and Higbee, like probably a first on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, the analyzer pretty much has it as another Chase Claypool,
Yeah.
Because once you hit a 3-for-1, the package adjustment's really going to kick in, and in which case, yeah, you're down to pretty much another Chase Claypool, which, yeah, a future first for Chase Claypool is probably spot on. Whether that actually gets a done deal or not is up in the, who knows, but the value-wise, I think it's right.
Right. Yeah, a 2022 first-round pick in the analyzer is 250 points. So
yeah, there you go.
That's basically it right there. Yeah, and again, I'm not high on Higbee, so that might come down to it. If you're a little bit higher on Higbee without Jared Everett, with Matthew Stafford, it might not be a first as the difference. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, regardless, that's what we're going purely on what the analyzer says. I think Higbee is going to fall into that, tight end 6 to 16 that you can't predict whatsoever. But we've seen tight ends be okay from a Stafford offense, and we've seen Higbee be good with Jared Goff. So I'm not down on him by any means, but I'm not going out. Clearly, he wasn't the actual goal of this trade. I would assume you did this to go get Claypool.
Right.
The metaphorical you, because it wasn't actually you. All right, let's move on to the next one, because I think we've said, though I didn't know that Mike Tomlin thing. That is actually super interesting. And like, it's one of those things where I wish like I could just like DM, yo, Mike, I heard is this true? Like, what was your thinking behind that? Cause that's legitimately insanely interesting to me.
Yeah. He actually said that in a press conference that he was actively dropping Claypool's snaps.
Super like really like that is going to be stuck in my brain for a while.
Yep.
But we're going to move on to the next trade. This is 12 team, 1 QB, no tight end premium. We have Darren Waller and a 22 second for, like I said, another Steelers player, Deontay Johnson and Hunter Henry. Man, lack of respect for every other tight end in the analyzer. Just going to put that out there. Darren Waller in 1 QB is 390.7, 22 second, 91.3 for a total of 482.1. Deontay Johnson, 328.7. So he's not far off from Waller straight up. And Hunter Henry, 68.9. Though, yeah, man, if he was still on the Chargers, that would probably be higher. But the fact that new team, very crowded, confusing, what do you call it? I guess tight end room, because usually you say backfield, when it's running backs.
Yeah.
So tight ends core with him and Jonnu in New England. So totals 428.1 to 397.7. It's actually a little further than I thought it would be, but that's even enough, right? 390 to 328. So I think I would do this if I were either side. So I think I really like this trade because, first of all, no tight end premium, so it's just straight PPR. If you told me Darren Waller and Deontay Johnson ended the season within 15, 20 catches of each other, I would probably think that's all right. Yeah. And while Waller will probably, I mean, Waller wasn't the biggest touchdown guy anyway, because I remember screaming that Foster Moreau kept scoring touchdowns, even though Darren Waller kept getting all the receptions. And Deontay Johnson, he scores some touchdowns, but again, he's not the touchdown guy. We were just talking about Chase Claypool, where he's the much bigger body, you know, back corner kind of stuff. So them two straight up for me makes a lot of sense. And especially in a no tight end premium, second for Hunter Henry's pretty good too. Especially if you think that, well, Hunter Henry's more of the body style of Gronk and than Jonnu Smith is, so they're going to use Hunter Henry like Gronk. I have no idea. You know, that's why I did my hands in the voice, because that's me being facetious. But I like this trade. I think if you're trying to downgrade from Darren Waller, this is a great way to do it. It's a guy that I think will be solid regardless, because the Patriots don't have a lot of receiving options, I should say. And Deontay Johnson will just get targets. That's what he does. And if you're right away, you say Deontay Johnson, if you start thinking of drops, you just need to stop that. It doesn't matter. Drops don't matter. You know what drops means? That means he was open to get the targets, and he's still going to get them because he's still going to be open. So I am absolutely on the Deontay Johnson train, especially in this kind of trade where tight end doesn't mean nearly as much when there's no premium to it. So I would rather get the 4 years younger guy in a position that I guess you need to depend on a little more, because chances are, even if it's only a start one in every position and everything else is flex, you're still going to start Deontay Johnson over thinking of putting a tight end in a flex spot. And then Hunter Henry, he has a really good chance for his value to skyrocket. 2 games into the season, he scores a touchdown in both of them, or he goes like 8 for 102. Like, he's gonna, like, everyone's gonna go nuts. Like, he's the next Gronk. Let's go do this. And then clearly you trade him right away, because he's not going to be the next Gronk. Let's just call that what it is. Gronk is Gronk for a reason. He's an outlier. He's just really freaking good. But yes, this trade, I like it. I do it from either side, depending on rosters, depending on if I'm bored that day. How about you? Yeah,
I mean, this one's like team dependent, like which way you're heading. Like if you're competing, give me Darren Waller in the second. I would rather have the second than Hunter Henry, and I'd probably rather have Darren Waller than Deontay, just to lock in that tight end position. If you didn't have a tight end position, or obviously if you're upgrading over Hunter Henry, that would be really good on a competing team. But yeah, like you said, if you're rebuilding, you know, Darren Waller and Deontay Johnson could be very similar production wise, target share wise, all that stuff. Just drop the 4 years down to Deontay, and then see what you have in Hunter Henry. So that's, I mean, yeah, basically everything you said, I agree with on this one. Although I think I will say that as we go and move throughout the rest of these, I find myself realizing how much, and I already kind of knew this about myself, but like how much I value not having to stream the tight end position.
Yeah, being lazy. Yeah, like, no, I've gotten there too. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I have absolutely gotten to that point too, mostly because I'm bad at it. Our next trade, also 12 team, 1 QB, no premium. We have Darren Waller and the 305. I love when they haven't done their rookie drafts yet, and we have like an exact pick. It just makes it so much easier to talk about. Right. Sorry. Darren Waller and the 305 for DJ Moore, 208 and 307. 390.7 for Darren Waller, 46.3 for the 305. DJ Moore, 488.7. 208, 99.4, 307, who cares? So the total is 437 for the Waller side, 627.2 for DJ Moore side. Here's the thing. I think Darren Waller will probably outproduce DJ Moore, but I still just want DJ Moore. I mean, it's really hard for me to think about non-premium scoring for tight ends, because I don't think I play in any leagues without a tight end premium, at least a little bit of it.
Okay.
So I don't have pure reception totals in my head, but I want DJ Moore is really what it comes down to. And honestly, okay, let me rephrase that. I do this trade. I trade Waller for Moore. You get the 208, which is an earlier pick, which is nice. But if the first season goes by and Waller does outproduce Moore, I'm still not sad about it. That's really the better way of saying I will still feel good about this trade, even if Darren Waller outproduces DJ Moore this season. I believe in DJ Moore. I think he's very good. I think that offense is going in the right direction by not having Teddy Bridgewater as their quarterback. So and I do like Sam Darnold. So I am on the DJ Moore side.
Yeah, so my initial reaction was the same as you. I'd rather just have DJ Moore over Darren Waller. But then when I thought about it, and I've kind of had this thought for a couple months now, is that DJ Moore's kind of overvalued in wide receiver terms because he is being treated as like a back end wide receiver one. But ultimately, I don't really view a major difference between him and even Deontay Johnson. And they're like a couple rounds apart in one quarterback leagues. Like DJ Moore's like the wide receiver like 12 or 13 in ADP, and Deontay is like the wide receiver 20 or something like that in one quarterback ADP.
Yeah, right now there's about 160 points on the analyzer between the two of them. And honestly, like I said, I think there should be less of a gap between Waller and Moore, which means if you up Waller or down Moore a little bit, that gets you even closer between Johnson and. So I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. People haven't lost their. It's weird, right? Like usually when you think someone's going to be a wide receiver one and they fail you, people just start to hate on him. No one's really moved that hate onto DJ Moore.
Right.
And example one. So, but still, I agree with what you're saying. You keep going because I've already said everything I'm about to say again. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Like, I would rather have DJ Moore, but I think that's more so just because the value is on the DJ Moore side. Like, and I recognize that the community also values DJ Moore over Darren Waller because I think that they score relatively similarly, and neither one of them are major touchdown guys. More of them they're both like reception and receiving yards kind of guy. Maybe Sam Darnold changes that, but with Teddy Bridgewater, DJ Moore was not a touchdown guy at all, and it really hasn't been a touchdown guy his entire career. So I mean, yeah, it's strictly just the fact that the community still thinks DJ Moore is a back end wide receiver one or right there on the border, and even though Darren Waller is the consensus top 3 tight end, maybe depending on where you have Pitts or Kittle or Kelsey, he's right there in the top 3 or 4. It's just it's DJ Moore, and the analyzers reflecting that value as well. So that's why I lean the DJ Moore side on this one.
Yeah, if this is part of a process, if this, like, it's only, well, technically right now it's July, but this was, I'm sure, done in June. So I can say it's only June. You're not really setting lineups yet. So if this is part of your non-point scoring season process where you're just going to keep flipping people, I take DJ Moore because it is easier to get his value in a trade than it is Darren Waller, because it's hard to get value for a tight end, especially in a non-premium league. So everything that Addison just said is absolutely correct. You're sort of getting the good value in this trade by sending Waller for Moore. And even if you don't like Moore, you can flip him probably for more, for a better package than Waller and the 305.
Yeah.
So that even adds to me wanting to take the DJ Moore side.
The little cherry on top to finish this off is if you say that the 305 and the 3.07 are a wash, because they essentially are, then the 2.08 is on the DJ Moore side, which I think isn't right.
Yes,
so
correct.
That should be on the Darren Waller side, and that would make this a lot closer of an actual trade in terms of the analyzer's eyes. And that's also, that's just like, if you want to take DJ Moore over Darren Waller as the value, then you also get the second on top of it, and your third round picks cancel out. So that's just like super easy.
Yep, there you go. Now let's move on to running back equivalencies. Our first trade, 12-team Superflex, where, running backs get 1.5, tight ends get 1.75. It took me a second to understand what you wrote down. Okay, tiered PPR. There you go. All right, so we have Darren Waller for Najee Harris and Dawson Knox. Okay, so we have Darren Waller for Najee Harris. Sorry, Dawson Knox, you're just not going to be a thing.
Sorry.
Because you are 15.8 on the analyzer, so the DLF does not think you're just ever going to be anything. I'm sorry. So Darren Waller 452.1, Najee Harris 539.5. Yeah, Najee. I'm not gonna lie, I'm worried about the Steelers offensive line, but Najee Harris is really good. that offense has always found a way to be good, whether our O-line was healthy or not, because they've always had a good one, but they've had a decent amount of injuries over the years on their offensive line, and they find a way to be good. I'm not super concerned about Najee Harris. But again, going back to that last trade we were talking about, you'll be able to flip Najee Harris probably for more than just for Darren Waller later on.
Easy.
Yeah,
it's Najee, right? Yeah, it's not that hard. And even, I mean, if you want to take Najee, then you can turn around, go and look at the Kelsey, Kittle, or Pitts owner, and maybe you get one of those three plus something. Yeah. So then you essentially turn Darren Waller into Kelsey. You stayed within the tier, but you added something by, a couple of trades there. So Najee, just take the value.
Awesome. So we're going to move on to the next trade because I think we've said enough. 12-team, 1 QB with no tight end premium. We have Darren Waller for Kareem Hunt and a 22 first. So Darren Waller, 390.7, Kareem Hunt, 268.2, and the first at 253.3, with after a package adjustment comes in at 492.8. This falls back into I think we may have actually not talked about it last episode, but you overpay to get the better piece in a trade when it's a 2-for-1. And I think that's what you're doing here. If this is at least a PPR league, Kareem Hunt is going to be a solid RB2 at worst. If Chubb gets hurt again, he'll get boosted up a little bit. And future firsts are great because they're just going to gain value, even if the 22 class isn't going to be as great as everyone thinks, as the past two classes have been, not even thinks. It doesn't matter. That pick is still going to gain value. The real weird thing about this is if you're rebuilding, you're not going to go after Kareem Hunt. So right. This is kind of seems to be a move either A, for value, or B, just to get out of Darren Waller. In which case, either way, I don't think I care, because I get it, but my answer is Darren Waller.
I mean, like you said, you kind of have to overpay a little bit to get the better asset, and this would have been something where I would have probably been like, can I do like Kareem Hunt in a second to get Darren Waller? And then the guy was like, no, it has to be first. And then you kind of sit there and you sit on it and you're like, man, I don't really want to do that. Can you send something, like get a little piece back?
You try and get a second back with Waller. Yeah, that's exactly what I would do. Yeah.
Yeah. But then ultimately, like, I'm not going to let that stop me if I am a team that's competing. And I'm, obviously I would like to spend my 22 first if I'm that much of a competitor on probably something a little bit better. But I mean, if this is like a true tight end upgrade for you and you're like a competing team, but you kind of got screwed because Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry signed on the same team.
Yep.
Or, you have, you don't really have like a really good tight end. This is the move that you kind of have to make. And if Darren Waller's just going to, have another 140 targets again, then this isn't really like a bad trade.
Let's do quarterback trade in Superflex. 12-team Superflex, 2 PPR tight end premium. The answer is Waller. I'm not even going to look at the other side. The answer is Waller. Okay, we have Waller for Derek Carr, Myles Gaskin, and Hunter. Yeah, oh my God, Darren Waller. Sorry. Let me actually read those words out loud. Derek Carr, Myles Gaskin, Hunter Henry. Darren Waller for 52.1. The total. Why isn't this in the horrible trade section? The total of the other side is 273.8. That's not good.
Yeah. So I put this in here because it was one of the only quarterback trades on the list. Other ones were like Jalen Hurts and Darren Waller for a quarterback and Mark Andrews or something like that. It was like a swap for swap. Didn't really want to talk about that. But this one I thought was really interesting just because, first of all, this is our old pal Safe Leagues on here. This is a Scott Fish.
It's been a while.
Safe Leagues 2 PPR tight end premium. If you've never played in a 2 PPR tight end premium, tight ends are king. So
yes.
I had Travis Kelce in mind last year, and my God, I think he averaged 30 points per game. Like, as insane as Travis Kelce was, at an additional point per reception.
Yep.
Like, he was like outscoring like every quarterback except for like Aaron Rodgers and like Patrick Mahomes and Kyler Murray, basically. So, yeah, Darren Waller was like right behind Travis Kelce. He's absolutely insane in a 2 PPR tight end premium. And it is enough to where, this isn't like Derek Carr is not the level of quarterback that you need to be going after if you have Darren Waller at all.
None of these guys are of the level you should be going for
Yeah.
when you're looking to move Darren Waller into 2 PPR tight end premium. I mean, you want a quarterback that you want to start every single week and you'll feel good about it. You want a running back that will have a job next year. And
Right.
you want a tight end in a less murky situation is what it really comes down to. Like this, I get it. You got a decent amount of, like, you got a third of a starting lineup in this trade, which can be very helpful if your team is bad, but still, like, you're not even compiling value well enough to get to Darren Waller's value. And the package adjustment is only 75 points, in which case, even with that added in, you're at 350. So you're still 100 points off. That's far. So yeah. What can we do? Okay, let's swap around a little bit. I know it's a little tough because we're going between 1 QB and Superflex, but what if we switched out Gaskin with Kareem Hunt? Would you feel a little bit better? Because I know that's not enough to make the value right now, but I'm trying to look around to see what it would need to take in these 3 players to trade away Darren Waller. Because Najee Harris is just way too much.
I would feel better. You'd have more longevity with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, and then like quarterback wise,
yeah, I think you need to bump up Derek Carr to like. Man, I mean, we always talk about like Kirk Cousins, but like,
I want higher. I want like, at least if I'm going for that QB2 kind of guy, at least in value, I want like Tua. I want someone younger. I want someone who I know is going to be every year. There's Derek Carr rumors.
I want Fields or Lance or.
Okay, I know this isn't even on the sheet, but let's do. But what do you think the value difference is between Darren Waller and Fields or Lance
in a
2 PPR Superflex league? Yes, in this league right now.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I bet you Waller still is valued more than both of those individually.
I was going to say you might have to add a little bit, but that's something I could see happening straight up. If you're on a rebuilding team and you need a quarterback, because clearly if you're sending away if you're sending away a tight end and getting a quarterback in, you probably need one. So if you're going young, and if I saw this trade of Darren Waller for Fields or Lance, I'm a bigger Fields fan, so I'm just going to use Fields. If I saw Waller for Fields in a 12-team Superflex 2 PPR, I'd be like, all right, maybe I want a second on top of Fields, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. So that, I mean, I wanted to. This was such a trade that I wanted to be able to say this is what you might be able to do or what you should do for Waller in a 2 PPR. Just to put it out there. Let's go down to the horrible trades because I think at this point we're running a little long. 12-team, 2 QB, no tight end premium. Darren Waller for the 301, OJ Howard and Tyler Johnson. So OJ Howard for the people you were going to drop. 2 of which right now are on the same team.
This guy found the Buccaneers fan and said, you know what? I got 2 Buccaneers for you.
Man, remember how much of a thing OJ Howard was supposed to be?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's like the poster boy for people that don't want to believe in Kyle Pitts.
Oh, you're going to draft a tight end in the first round? Remember OJ Howard?
Yeah. Evan Ingram? Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I've used that a lot, but, not for the, this dramatic of a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really, really bad. If you're trading away Darren Waller, please just get a dude you're going to start. Like,
that you're not going to cut.
Yeah, like seriously, like this, I don't even know, man. That is wow. Like now, like I feel better about Waller for Claypool and Higbee now. Like I feel much better about it.
Wait till see the
okay.
Next one, then the next.
12-team, 1 QB, and a yardage tight end premium. That's super interesting. So
yeah,
what they get like 1.25 for every 10 yards instead of 1.
Wide receivers get 0.0667 and tight ends get 0.1.
Oh, so they get 2/3. The wide receivers get 2/3 the value. That's interesting.
Yeah, so what is that? Like 1 per every like 15 yards maybe versus tight ends get 1 per 10 yards. Is that what the math is? Something like that.
Well,
12 or 13.
It would be like 16 or 17. No, a little, yeah, because you have to add a third, so 13 yards.
Yeah.
All right. Darren Waller for Darren Waller for Adam Troutman, a 22 third and a 22 fourth. I was on the Dynasty Dorks, I guess while you're listening to this, it would have been last week. We were talking about Adam Troutman and how he is a buy. And, okay, Switch is the character from The Matrix that I couldn't think of last week.
Okay.
Not like this. Not like this. Come on. This is not how you buy low on a guy. Okay, the analyzer is 485.7 to a total of 69.9. That is almost fair. It is almost 10 times. It would almost take 10 times of this package to reach Darren Waller's value. Okay, it worked for the Robert Woods. I actually got a DM with someone when they watched the Robert Woods episode. If you are thinking about doing one, like, my hands are very close to the camera because I'm trying to emphasize my point. If you are thinking about trading away a good player like Darren Waller for a package, like, again, I'm about to point to the screen, like they can see my screen, like one of these packages, please just DM me and I will send you a gif of people getting slapped to try and slap some sense into you. Because I will too terrified to slap people in real life because I will always lose a fight, and 2, because I'm too lazy to go find wherever you are. But still, please, please don't. Just, so much Darren Waller, especially in a premium of yards where, again, Waller's not a touchdown guy. He gets his points through catches and yards after. So please, just do better. I want to help you do better, please. Why do you? I love that you do this, but why do you do this to me, Addison? Like,
we just need to show the people what not to do.
What not? That's part of the 360, guys. That's it. And I get that I get a little more into this than a lot of people, probably most people will, but still, like, you see that if you're in this league and you see that, you're absolutely face palming in some way, shape, or form. You're at least going, if not. And there's definitely that GIF from Naked Gun 33 and a third, where the entire crowd of the Oscars just
face palm.
Yep. So please reach out, throw in the comments. We will help talk you off of a very dangerous ledge of just tanking value in a trade.
So I have one small question that's probably not going to lead to a small conversation, but I just want to get your thoughts on it as a commissioner, but also as a avid Dynasty player. You see one of these two trades come across your transaction log in your league. I know that we are team never veto / all that stuff, but are you like looking into this? Are you looking into these kind of things?
Yeah. I mean, if this was a conversation happening on Twitter, I would right now be replying with a link to the t-shirt in my store that says #NeverVeto, because yes, you do not, or should not, I should say, as a commissioner, there should never be a panel of people reviewing trades. You don't know better than anyone else. You should not be policing trades. It's not your job. But you see this come along, you talk to that guy who sent away Darren Waller and just be like, did you mean to hit accept? Was there like, I mean, if you, and in the nicest way possible, you just be like, you know, what were you thinking on your side? Like, don't be a jerk about it. Like, all that's going to do is make that guy quit. And that's not cool. But seriously, like, this kind of trade should lead to a conversation, because it's like, at least Adam Troutman, there's people might just be like, well, everyone says to buy Adam Troutman. But that first one of OJ Howard, Tyler Johnson in a third, like, there's literally no good reason besides Buccaneers fandom to do this. So, like, you absolutely, as a commissioner, I first of all reach out to apologize for what he's about or she are about to hear from the rest of the league, because there's going to be words in chat rooms.
Yeah.
And then I just, like, in the most innocuous way possible, just like, hey man, what was your thought process behind it? Is there something I should I go buy OJ Howard? Like, try and phrase it in a certain way that you're not coming off as a jerk, because you want to see if they were cheating, and you want to you're going to have to because they're not going to say yes, that was cheating. You just got to analyze what they say and see how truthful you think it is, because it's almost impossible to say there was collusion without someone admitting it. But man, these are borderlines, makes me want to believe in vetoing trades.
Yeah, I mean, so if you talk to that guy and you find out that maybe obviously there was a mistake, and they come to you immediately and they're like, this was not at all what was going on. You reverse it and you let them do the right trade. If it's a person that is newer to Dynasty, maybe doesn't understand, or maybe they're, getting caught up in the age difference. And like you said, everybody wanting to buy Adam Troutman, for example, on that second trade. Do you reverse it, then do a little teaching thing, and then you're like, go get more for Darren Waller? So this doesn't because this type of trade could drastically, I think, impact a league, in my opinion. But I am also team never veto. So it's very hard.
Okay.
But if I was one of the other 10 in a 12-team league and I saw this, I would be pissed.
My first response is always, well, maybe you should have offered them a trade. But besides the point of that, because that's after the fact, there's nothing you could do about it. If I find out that this guy just had a really bad thought process and he was absolutely new, I reach out to the guy that did the trade, and if it comes down to it, screenshot the conversation and just be like, look, man, this dude didn't know what he was doing. Do you mind reversing it and, trying a little harder to be fair as opposed to just taking advantage of it? If they say no, sorry, man, you live and you learn. You make better trades from now on. You should have asked someone. You should have thrown a Twitter poll. You should subscribe to Dynasty League Football so you could use their trade analyzer. There's ways you should go about things before making a trade if you don't know what you're doing. And your job as the commissioner is not to teach people how to play. But I will absolutely reach out and try and appeal to the other person's humanity, into their good GMsmanship, and be like, he didn't really understand. Do you mind redoing it? Most of the times I feel like they'll say yes, at least in the leagues I put myself in, because always low stakes, always mostly about fun. So always honesty is really what it comes down to. And you want to, I was, as long as it's not cheating, I can't reverse it on my own. The only way I reverse a trade is if I have proof it was cheating. But if it's something like this, I'll absolutely ask the other GM. But if they say no, I'm not going to force their hand.
Yeah, I just worry that things like that, trades like these, as bad as these are, is bad for the league's health, because I could see a lot of the other managers being really toxic about it, and maybe they're leave the league. But this is all very league dependent, and it is about the people that you play in your leagues with. So I can see there could be leagues where it makes sense to just come in as a commission, just be like, listen, we can't let this one go.
See, I would do it the other way around. If there's people that are going to bully that guy into quitting, I throw out the people that are the bullies.
That also works as well, which again is all about the people that you play with.
Yep.
So
that every single question, when it comes down to something like that in a league, it all comes down to the people in the league. And I would much rather throw out the people that are making someone so upset that they leave the league than throw out the new guy who didn't know what he was doing.
Yep. Cool.
All right, now that we've had our longest episode ever, we should probably wrap this one up a little bit. Hold on, I didn't scroll down. Do you have any more horrible trades for me to be distraught over? No. Okay, that's it. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of the DLF Trade Show. I'm your host, Russ Fisher at Dynasty Outhouse. He is also your host, Addison Hayes at @AmazeHayes_. Catch you next time.